In this video, I'm going to show you how to salvage an EDDM mailing if you've somehow printed them and they're not compliant. The good news is it can be salvageable. My name is Jake Lorraine. I own highresponsemarketing.com and printingforsupercheap.com. I've been doing EDDM mailing since 2011 when the program first started. Every single week, I get someone that emails, texts, or calls me, and it's a business owner that says, "Crap, Jake, I just printed all these postcards and they got rejected at the post office," or "I just realized that they're the wrong size. They're not going to qualify for EDDM. What do I do?" Sometimes they're even like, "I got to reprint," and then I show them different ways that they can get it through, even though I could make more money printing because I'm stupid. Whatever. I'm here to help you, a fellow business owner, out. So you're going to find yourself in three different situations. One, you haven't printed yet and you just want to be sure that your postcard is able to go through every door direct mail. Number two, you've printed them somewhere and now you realize that they're not compliant, but you haven't actually taken them to the post office yet. Or number three, you took them to the post office and for some reason they got rejected. They're all relatively fixable. The last thing that you want to do is have to reprint everything. That would suck so bad. So let's take the first situation. You're about to do an EDDM or you're thinking about doing it, but you just want to make sure that it's compliant. And if you're working with someone who has done EDDM, you're going to be fine. You can text me, you can email me, you've got artwork, send it over to me, text me it. Call me if you need to. You say, "Jay, can you just look this over? I don't even care where you're printing it from. I just want to make sure you're not going to have a problem when it goes to the post office." So that takes care of that situation. Let's tackle the more complicated ones. Number two, you've printed these and you've realized that the size is not compliant. Let me show you the difference in size and how close it can be. Shout out to one of my favorite designers, Rob Smith, who designed this fantastic postcard piece for a customer in Long Island. This postcard is 6x9. It's a really nice big size, and this is really common. If you want to like Vista print and stuff and you print, you'll see 6x9. The problem is that this is not acceptable through EDDM. Now that's okay in this case because it's going to addresses, so this is not going through every door direct mail. But look at this compared to an EDDM qualified size. So almost identical. This is 6x9, this is 6.5x9. So it's really easy to mix these dimensions up and then end up realizing you have 6x9. Or you don't have the mailing label on it. So you've either realized that you don't have the right size or you don't have this little indicia. It's called mailing label, indicia, same thing. This little thing that says postage is paid and local postal customer. The first thing that I would do is if you have the mailing label on it, but it's the wrong size, I would probably just try to send it through. Prepare it, pay for the postage, bring it to the post office. Most likely they will just look, postage is paid, it's all bundled properly. By the way, if you need the free EDDM, like how to bundle, how to fulfill everything, you can go down in the description below. It's got all my contact information, but it's got it free. You can sign up to my mailing list. I'll send you the guide that I made for totally free. You'll get it right away in your email. You should pick that up. Prepare it like normal, bring it to the post office, see what they say. Because if it's got this mailing label, most likely they're going to approve it. And they can. They can actually, as long as it's postage paid, they can approve it. So see if that just goes through, as long as it's got this mailing label. If you don't have this mailing label, then you've got a problem because then they're probably going to see it and they're going to say, "There's no thing on here. There's no indicia on here." And that's where it's a little bit troubles. And if you have the wrong size and the wrong mailing label, that's a different solution. But let's assume your sizing is okay, but you don't have a mailing label. You can either take it to the postmaster and ask, give them a sob story. Tell them, "Look, I'm a business owner. This is really complicated. I just spent hundreds or thousands of dollars on this. Is there any way you could just send them through?" A lot of times the postmaster will just say yes. They'll make a one-time exception. As long as postage is paid, they will say put it through, just don't do that again. So you may be totally fine doing that. That happens kind of often. If they say no, or you just want to be ultra super careful and you don't want to reprint, you can just use mailing labels. These address labels. You can go, they look like this. You can get them at Staples. You might have done these in your office or whatever. You go to Staples or Walmart or Office Max. Just make sure you get the kind that's for your printer, whether it's inkjet or laser. You just buy a package of these. You can get this template that, just shoot me a text. Shoot me a text or email. I'll send you the template. You can just print them off on your regular printer and then you can peel these off and just stick them on there. And it's approved. You have that on the mailing label. That's totally fine. If your postmaster says, "No, I will not take these unless you have this on here," just put the mailing labels on. Even if you have like 2,500, 5,000 pieces, I've even seen people do it with 10,000 pieces. It can be done in a relatively quick amount of time. Or if you have your spouse or kids or someone helping you, just peel them and stick them on there. If you're super crushed for time and you need these out and you made this big boo-boo, this can be a lifesaver. So all is not lost. So now let's assume the worst case scenario, which is you brought it to the post office and something you did was really wrong. Like you printed them at the wrong size. You didn't put a mailing label on and they're the wrong size. And the postmaster rejected it. That's where we have the biggest issue and the hardest problem to tackle. You can just reprint, but I don't want to see you have to do that. The best thing to do is attempt to explain your story to the postmaster. If they feel lenient, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're like Nazis and they don't want to. So the biggest thing is to understand that postmasters are not always correct. They may not know the EDDM program. They may not know it as well as someone like I do. Therefore, if you are rejected at the post office, there may be a chance your pieces are actually compliant. Sometimes they'll reject people for having a postcard in this direction instead of this direction. They may think that this is wrong when this is right. As long as the mailing label's oriented in the direction of the postcard, this is totally fine. I've seen postmasters that will reject that, and then you got to straighten them out. You got to school them. So the best thing to do really is to just shoot me a text, shoot me an email, call me, and let me look over your artwork quick and see if there's anything I can point out or give you some reference of the USPS material that you can show the postmaster. I'm even happy to call the postmaster for you and try to work this out so they can explain to them that this is in fact compliant, because these postmasters are not perfect. And if your card is in fact compliant and they're rejecting it, then that's a problem. You don't need to be reprinting this. They need to be approving it. In the last case resort, you have to reprint. There's nothing you can do, but hopefully this gives you a whole bunch of options to save your mailing, especially if you're on a time crunch. You got these mailings and you got to have them out and they're telling you forgot to put the mailing label. Print some on the thing, slap them on there. At least you're not having to reprint $1 bazillion worth of mailings. But EDM mailings, don't be scared of them. As long as you're working with someone who knows what they're doing, I always call them little ATM machines. I love them. And I've got so many videos, and I would highly suggest you watch the video that I have on the little tiny hack that we do that like increases postcard response like dramatically and can save your whole campaign from disaster just by this little tiny thing if you watch that video now.